Hey everyone, Kevin here with Victory 4x4. In today's video, we're going to be installing our front lower control arm skids on our 2022 Nissan Frontier. So when you order these, you'll obviously receive a pair. Here I have just the passenger side, so this vertical flange will go against the front edge of the lower control arm, and then it's just a matter of kind of lining up the profile to figure out which side is which. You'll also receive a smaller bracket here with a 90-degree bend and a couple holes. That's going to bolt on the skid here, which we'll show you in just a moment, along with all the hardware to get them installed, which we'll overview along the way. So you'll want to find that small bracket. You'll bolt it on before the skid goes in place on the truck using the round hole on the bracket that lines up with the round hole on this front flange. To bolt that in place, you'll find the short 3/8 hex bolt with a washer. That'll go kind of outside in like you see it here, and then you'll install the serrated flange nut on the inside. We're just going to hand tighten this for now, leaving it just a little bit loose so we have some flexibility with that bracket. So we're going to mount this skid with the carriage bolts like you see here. If you pay close attention, you're going to have one longer than the others. This will be the same way for each side. So you'll find that longer bolt and install it in the hole out closest to the wheel. And then on top of that is where you'll install the provided aluminum spacer before this goes underneath the lower control arm. Now, since we have this bracket pre-installed, you will have to kind of feed this up in and then rotate it into position, kind of between the sway bar here and the arm. If you're having any difficulty with that, just loosen this up a little bit and try again. Basically, you kind of got to work it into the correct spot there, and then it should slide in pretty easily. Now, since the tab is at least partially supporting the front, I'll start one of these two back bolts first. You're just pushing that all the way through a factory hole in this control arm, getting it lined up, and then you'll need to find one of your washers as well as a nylock nut to go up here on top. Then that one's kind of holding it up pretty well, so I'll now grab that longer bolt and spacer, feed the spacer in here, and again get this bolt all the way up through the arm with a washer and a nut up top. After that, the third bolt here towards the front is going to go through the skid and then up through that bracket we installed earlier on, again with a washer and a nylock nut. Once you have all three bolts started, the skid will pretty much center itself as you tighten things up, but just pay close attention to all the surrounding components. Make sure you don't have any weird interference issues there. If you do, as always, go ahead and give us a call. After that, you should just need a 9/16 socket and probably a ratcheting wrench to get out to this furthest outside bolt, and we can kind of begin tightening things in place. Again, out here is where you'll benefit from having a ratcheting wrench just because it gets a little tight up there. This flex head ratcheting wrench works really well. These again are 9/16, and this one you should just be drawing it up to tighten it up to that spacer that we installed earlier. Now lastly, moving to this front bolt location, you can begin tightening this one up. You want to use a little bit of caution here so that you don't over tighten it and bend either of these tabs on the bracket or on the skid. And then also in this location, you'll want to begin tightening up that hex bolt on the front side where we installed that top side bracket earlier on. So these two you kind of want to tighten up simultaneously. So I'll snug this one up just a little bit, come back, tighten that front hex bolt, and then finish up back here one last time. For the hex bolt, again, you'll probably want to switch to a wrench just to have enough clearance to get in here. And then if you're having any issues at all with the nut spinning on the inside, you could probably feed a 9/16 wrench in there. Likely, you really just need to get your finger behind there and hold the nut long enough for it to bite into the material on the skid. Once you have all your hardware tightened up here, you can go ahead and repeat the same process over on the other side to finish up your install. As always, go ahead and just double check your clearances one last time, maybe even cycle your wheels from side to side. And then as always, if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can always email us at info@victory4x4.com or call us at 269-459-8447.